jarring impact. Damn it! She took a second for inventory. No massive injuries. This was in thanks to not having lost those 5 pounds of winter brownie blues didn't make her feel any better. The cold seeped through her tights, and the sidewalk abraded the bare skin of her palms. Rolling to her hands and knees, she reached for her keys, just as a set of denim-clad legs came into her field of vision. The owner of the legs crouched down, easily balancing on the balls of his feet. A hand appeared, her keys centered in the big palm. Tilting her head up, she froze. Her polite stranger wore a baseball cap low over his eyes, shadowing most of his face and dark hair, but she'd know those gunmetal gray eyes anywhere. And then there was the rest of him. 6'2" and built for trouble, in army camo cargos, a black sweatshirt, and his usual badass attitude, the one that tended to have men backing off and women checking for drool. There was no mistaking Griffin Reid, the first guy she'd ever fallen for. Of course, she'd been 10 at the time. That was a pretty spectacular fall, he said, blocking her from standing up. Make sure you're okay. Keep your cool, she told herself. Don't speak, just nod. But her mouth didn't get the memo. No worries. A man's 47% more likely to die from a fall than a woman. The minute the words escaped, she bit her tongue, but of course it was too late. When she got nervous, she spouted inane science facts. And Griffin Reid made her very nervous. I'm going to ask you again, he said, moving his tall, linebacker body nary an inch as he pinned her in place with nothing more than his steady gaze. Are you okay? Actually, no, she wasn't. Not even close. Her pride was cracked, and quite possibly her butt as well, but that wasn't what had her kneeling there on the ground in stunned shock. You're home. He smiled grimly. I was ordered back by threat of bodily harm if I was late to the wedding. He was kidding. No one ordered the tough, stoic, badass Griffin to do anything, except maybe Uncle Sam, since he was some secret army demolitions expert who'd been in Afghanistan for 3 straight tours. But his sister Holly was getting married this weekend, and if there was anyone more bossy or determined than Griffin, it was his baby sister. Only Holly could get her reticent brother halfway around the world for her vows. Kate had told herself that, as Holly's best friend and maid of honor, she would absolutely not drool over Griffin if he showed up, and she would especially not make a fool of herself. Too late, on both counts. Again, she attempted to get up, but Griffin put a big, tanned, work-roughened hand on her thigh, and she felt herself tingle. Well, damn, Meg was right. Too little sex fried the brain. Clearly misunderstanding her body's response, Griffin squeezed gently as if trying to soothe, which of course had the opposite effect, making things worse. Embarrassed, she tried to pull free, but still effortlessly holding her, Griffin's steely gray eyes remained steady on hers. Take stock first, he said, voice low but commanding. What hurts? Let me see. Since the only thing that hurt besides her pride was a part of her anatomy that she considered no man's land, hell would freeze over before she'd let him see. I'm fine, really, she added. Griffin took her hand and easily hoisted her up, studying her in that assessing way of his. Then he started to turn her around, presumably to get a 360-degree view, but she stood firm. Seriously, she said, backing away. I'm good. And if she weren't, if she'd actually broken her butt, she'd die before admitting it, so it didn't matter. Bending to gather up her belongings, she carefully sucked in her grimace of pain. I've got it, Griffin said, and scooped up the duct tape and donuts. He looked like maybe he was going to say something about the donuts, but at the odd vibrating noise behind them, he turned. Your phone's having a seizure, he said. Panicked siblings, no doubt. After all, there was a camel to create out of thin